Hi, Trevor here, reflecting on life through music. Welcome and thank you for stopping by. It's fantastic you are here. Well, I trust you enjoyed my last video from Aussie band Dragon. Well, they were originally from New Zealand but moved to Australia earlier on in their career. And through the song Younger Years, we looked at the relationship that we have with our younger selves. So I trust you found that one an encouragement. Well, we're going to go back to these guys today. When I first did this channel back in May 2020, these guys were very on early in the piece, and I looked at that video. I thought, yeah, okay, but it was interesting. We looked at this song Planet Earth, and I put the question: if we met an alien race out in space somewhere, and we were an ambassador for Planet Earth, what would we say? So that was an interesting one. So of course, when we talk about these guys, by the way, they were formed in Birmingham in 1978. When we think about 1980s, this is the first band that you think of. They had the look, they had the songs, they had the live performance. They just had everything going for them. And there was many a girl that had pin-ups of these guys in their bedrooms. And of course, we're talking about Duran Duran. Yeah, as I said, formed in Birmingham 1978. Pop Perfection 1980s. Nick Rhodes on keyboards, John Taylor on bass, Roger Taylor on drums, Andy Taylor on guitar. And by the way, none of those are related to each other. They're not brothers, they just all happen to have the last name Taylor. And of course, up the front, Simon Le Bon. Now, Duran Duran very much ushered in the new wave of pop as a live act of, I suppose, of a five-piece band. Very much the new romantic era and very much classic 80s arena pop. And as I've already talked about, appeal. appeal. Of course, they actually are pretty good musicians as well. And so when you put that all together, it's such a compelling act. And everybody just loved Duran Duran. Oh my goodness. In fact, between 1981 and 2021, how long is that career? 15 studio albums, 4 live albums, 4 compilation albums, 14 video albums, 7 EPs. It's estimated these guys have sold 100 million albums, making them pretty successful in the scheme of things. Many top 40 UK hits and many number 1 top 10 US hits. So very successful indeed. 2 Brit Awards. They've received a 2-time Grammy Award. They received Lifetime Achievement MTV Video Awards. Of course, in the 1980s, when these guys were around and pretty big, MTV had become a bit of a thing. And so you just didn't sort of record songs, but you had to do a video clip. And we'll get onto one of those iconic clips in a second. And so, because these guys' videos were so innovative, they received the Lifetime Achievement Video Award from MTV. And interestingly, they were one of the first bands to introduce a live video into their concerts. Of course, video is part of the experience now. You're not just seeing the guys on stage, you're also watching them on video camera with all the effects and everything else that goes on. So very much pioneers in that part of performing. They've also received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And so, very well regarded by fans in particular, but also the industry. So Brit Awards and Grammy Awards, this goes to show that these guys are well regarded. Now, whereas in the first video on Duran Duran I looked at Ordinary World, and not Ordinary World, Planet Earth. And by all means, if you want to go back and have a bit of a laugh and see me with glasses on, I don't know what I was thinking then. I kind of forgot to take them off, I was thinking, but it was too late, it was done. You want to go back, have a bit of a laugh, feel free. But the question about, Ambassador of Planet Earth, what would we say, is an interesting one. So, yeah. And I thought, well, when we think of Duran Duran, one of the go-to songs for me is Hungry Like a Wolf, which is a pretty good one. The Reflex is another good one. But when I was considering what to talk about today, I thought about the song Ordinary World. Now, this is a song all about loss. This is a song all about moving on from something and trying to find your way in the world after the loss. In a sense, trying to find an ordinary world. Because, you know, when your world is topsy-turvy and upside down, it's far from ordinary. In fact, it's something that we really don't want to be part of, and we're longing for normality and ordinariness, and it's just not there. And hopefully we're thinking, if we just keep going the way we are, hopefully we'll find it at some point. This is very much what this song is all about. And the thing I love about this song is the way that if we do experience a tragedy or a loss in our lives, and we think, well, I've got to get over this thing. Well, I would argue that you don't really ever get over it. Now, just bear with me as I say that, because you might be thinking, oh, really? I'm going to be with this thing forever? No. Just stay with me, because there's more to this getting over than what we think. Because, you know, imagine, for instance, you know, you were in a relationship that went for, you know, it was 2 years, and it was pretty amazing, pretty cool. And you know how relationships go sometimes, and it all just ends up, and you think, oh, all right, that wasn't part of the plan, and yeah. We think, well, are we going to look back and discount and say, okay, I'm just going to pretend like those 2 years didn't exist? Well, I don't think we can do that really, because, you know, we were emotionally invested in those times. We gave our all to those moments, and we really appreciated those moments. And while we were in it, we thought it was just the best thing. No, we never expected that the thing was going to finish and come to an end. And so, in a sense, the coming to an end really means that the ordinary that we knew has kind of stopped, and we're thinking, oh, okay, yeah, right. So I think a better way to do it, perhaps, is to think about it this way. If we just kind of just pretend like it never happened, well, I think you'll be struggling to keep that going. In your innermost being, I'm talking about in your mind, in your innermost being, your thoughts will be going back to that thing over and over again, because you might see some little thing and it'll take you straight back there, and you think, oh no, I thought it was over this. Well, perhaps it's not about getting over. Perhaps it's about going with into your future. Because, you know, in all of our experiences, pretty much, you know, there are things which we really, really appreciated about it. And, you know, if we had a time over again, and, you know, obviously, you know, hindsight's a beautiful thing, but, you know, at the time, we don't have hindsight, so we just go into it with what we think at the time. You know, there are some good things in there. Sure, there might be some bad stuff in there as well, but there are some good things in there. And, you know, you were part of that good thing, as well as the other person. And so you don't necessarily want to deny that stuff, because as part of who you are, you know, you have been changed forever because of this experience. And part of you is really, really glad that you were changed. You know, and you'll be thinking, well, all right, I'll walk forward with this thing. And I'll take forward the things that were good about it, and perhaps leave aside the things that weren't so good. And certainly we don't just disregard those things that weren't so good, because there are always learning experiences we can take out of those moments. And often, it's in the bad times that we discover who we are and the learnings that we need to take out of this world. So if you can imagine, like, you know, you've just come out of a loss, and you're standing on the road and you're looking at the sunset ahead of you, and next to you is a suitcase, and in that suitcase is the loss that you've got. The loss that, you know, it's a loss. Why is it a loss? Because it's significant, and it's something that is significant. So you can't just pretend like it's not there, because it is. But what you can do is, because I suppose grief has dealt with the loss to a certain extent. You know, grief does what it needs to do, and you engage with it. So at some point, you can just, the loss will be in that suitcase next to it, and you just pick it up and carry it with you, quite as just part of who you are. But the suitcase won't be heavy. It will be light and easy, because you have engaged with grief needed to work out what to do with this loss you've experienced. And so then you'll just walk forward into the sunset with this suitcase by you, nice and light, nice and easy. And you might find over time, after time, that the suitcase will have another loss added to it and another loss added to it. And your life experience will grow bigger and bigger and bigger, and you'll be able to carry this stuff because you've kind of carried it before. Every loss is uniquely different though, but you kind of carry it, and you carry it with you because it is part of who you are. It is a loss because it is significant, and it was significant to you. And and perhaps the ordinary world that Simon Le Bon sings about here is this concept of walking forward into the world. We're not quite sure what it's going to be, but we're going to walk forward in it no matter what. We might find ourselves one day we were walking one side of the road, and now we can't walk on that side of the road anymore because it feels really strange and foreign. And so you're walking on the other side of the road and you're thinking, well, one day I might get it back over there again. But you know what? You probably never will, because the world has changed. That's why losses are important and significant, and that's why grief needs to do what grief needs to do, so you can interact with your loss. So if you're in a situation right now where you've sort of just suffered a loss and you're thinking, well, I just want to get over this thing, well, may I suggest to you that perhaps a better answer is, how can I live with this? How can I live with it? How can I carry it forward? How can it become part of my life experience, which is valuable and unique to you? So therefore, the loss doesn't sort of get kept at arm's length and pretend like it's not there. We take it with us, but it's lighter because we've chosen to do that and to let grief engage with it. So if you're in a situation right now, it's not about getting over, it's about living with. That's the takeaway from this song today. That's very much the case. So, but at the same time, if you have experienced a loss, I'm really, really sorry for your loss. And yeah, it's hard stuff, that is for sure, because it's a loss and it was important to you. So I trust that will all be an encouragement for you today. We as human beings, by the way, have an incredible ability to be able to live life while we're also experiencing things. It's almost like two things happening at the same time, engaging with the loss and walking with it at the same time. Well, on to the clips. So yes, we do have Ordinary World. This came off the 1993 album Duran Duran, The Wedding World. And this is, actually might be the wedding album. This is a live version. It's always good to see Duran Duran live on stage, any act on stage actually. And the thing I love about this particular song is there's a little bit more lyricness and musicianship in this one, as far as what the lead guitar does at the start, and the way that it just really carries you forward. And so quite a beautiful song, this one really. And the crowd just sort of pauses to listen to Simon as he sings this one. So we've got a live version of Ordinary World. Now, before I talked about Hungry Like a Wolf, this is probably one of my favourite Duran Duran songs. I just, again, love the feel of this one. There's a bit of progressiveness in this one, particularly in the middle. The bass does some trendy stuff, some other things. And I talked about the fact that Duran Duran were big in the MTV music video world. Well, this is what you did in the 1980s. You actually created a story around your song, and you often were acting in it. And Simon Le Bon, of course, he's got the looks and everything else. He was just perfect for the role of the star of Hungry Like a Wolf. And so we've got the official clip on that one. And yes, this is what we did in the 1980s with songs. How creative and how awesome, actually, because you never know what story is going to come out. But for some reason, this video just captures the story of Hungry Like a Wolf so well. And we've also got the Reflex. This is an official kind of livey kind of clip. The Reflex came off the Seven and the Ragged Tiger album, again in the 1980s. And that's just a really, really cool song about reflexes. One thing I say about reflexes is, let's limit our first impression reflex. Let's give people a little bit more of a go than a few seconds, because you would not want that for yourself. So as you listen to the Reflex, just think about that one at the same time. And the links to those 3 songs are in the description below. And I've also included my last video from Dragon, so if you want to recap on that one, feel free. Well, if you've come back for another video, or if this is your first time to Life Reflections Through Music, welcome to the channel, and thank you everybody for hanging around to the end. I love it when people do that. Thank you for, and I trust this video has been an encouragement for you today. Well, that's it for today. Next time we're going to go on to one of the bands of the Unholy Trinity of the UK. We had Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath. Of course, I've done a Black Sabbath song already. Led Zeppelin haven't done them yet, but if someone wanted to make a request, feel free. And the other one was Deep Purple. Of course, you can't do any series like this one without talking about Deep Purple. So these guys are coming up next. So until then, I'll catch you around. Bye for now.